Collection should not be thought of as something that only happens on the back end of the billing process. It should start long before your patient is even seen by properly communicating your expectations and policies in advance to both patients and staff. Here are some tips that you can implement in your practice to improve your patient collections at little or no cost. Hi, I'm David Weiner, CEO of Cash Flow Strategies. I have dedicated my life and my career to helping medical and dental practices, along with small and medium-sized businesses, to build their cash flow, reduce their expenses, save taxes, and eliminate risk. One of the areas that haunt practices is patient collections, and it's getting worse every year. Let's talk about solving that problem right now. Thanks for joining me on this video. This channel is full of help in building your practice and helping it to grow and thrive. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the important topics that we cover here. Let's talk first about office visits and front desk responsibilities. Patients need to understand and acknowledge in writing that they are personally responsible for any charges not covered by insurance. Every patient or guarantor should be required to sign your financial policy at least once every year, not just their very first visit, in order to remind them of their obligations. And if you're using a patient financial policy that hasn't been updated in years, you need to do that. It's not compliant, nor is it probably very effective anymore. An effective policy should reduce the number of patients who have the attitude that their insurance made a mistake and it's therefore not their problem. Of course, you always want to collect co-pays at the time of the visit, but what does your staff do when a patient says they didn't bring any form of payment? If you get indigestion at the thought of insisting that the patient reschedule at a time when they do bring their payment, you can train your staff to introduce themselves by first name, first of all, to make a connection with them, and then hand the patient a pre-addressed envelope to remit the funds when they get home. For example, your staff can say, "My name is Karen, and I've written my name on this envelope along with your address. As soon as you get home today, please put your check in the envelope and mail it back to my attention. I'll be keeping an eye out for it." Here's what to include and not include on your statements. Is your phone number on your bills? That might seem obvious, but some bills don't show a phone number, and that delays payment by making it more difficult for a patient to call if they want to set up a payment plan or ask a question or pay by a credit card. Now they have to take the time to look up your phone number, and they may put that off until later. Also, is there a due date on your bill, or do you just show the date the bill was generated? Your bills should always show a due date that says due upon receipt, so that patients understand that you expect to be paid right away. Do you have penalties specified for violating terms? Is there some consequence to paying late? Why not include a late charge in order to give your bill priority over other bills which don't incur penalties? A flat late fee is much easier to manage than a percentage of the balance. Also, do you show aging boxes on your statement? Many do. The use of aging boxes on statement which show 30, 60, 90, etc. balances conveys exactly opposite what you want. It shows that you expect your patient's balances to age, and you've even made a provision for that right on your statements. Isn't that convenient? When you really want to convey an expectation of getting paid as soon as the bill is received. Aging boxes also train patients to only pay the portion of the balance that is the oldest rather than paying off the balance in full. Let's talk about establishing internal collection policies. Just like other aspects of your employee handbook, your collection policies should be in writing. This makes it easier when training new employees and demonstrates the importance placed on collections. If you have employees chasing patient payments, which is not recommended by Mr. Cashflow, include performance benchmarks, dollars collected or number of calls made during a specific time period, or establish a maximum percentage of AR over 60 days. Review and update your collections policy as needed while keeping it clear and simple. Determine how return mail should be handled. Also define past due and include the next steps for handling a past due account. How many written contacts will be sent? How many phone calls will be made? When will this follow-up occur and at what intervals? Evidence shows that it's best to vary the form of follow-up at regular intervals of 7 to 14 days. That can be expensive in both staff time and practice money. And so I recommend a service that can handle your first-party follow-up for you. It's often more effective and less expensive than having your staff do it on their own. If they're making collection calls, they need to be careful when leaving voice messages so as not to advertise a debt owed to your practice when your message might be heard by others in the household. Ensure that your staff is fully compliant with all federal, state, and local regulations regarding first-party collections and telephone calls, or utilize a service to make these calls for you who is already compliant. When you talk to a patient about money, try to make a connection with them by speaking clearly and speaking enthusiastically, and stay firm by using phrases such as, "It's our policy that," whatever the policy is. Make the call with the mental attitude that you will get payment in full on one call, not that you're going to go through a list and making calls just to get it over with. Your mental attitude affects what comes out of your mouth, so expect success. If a patient says they don't have enough money to pay their balance, ask, "How much are you short?" rather than, "How much can you pay?" That little change in language conveys an expectation that the majority of the funds are available and that you'll be working out a payment plan for them so that they can get the smaller remaining balance paid. Never make idle threats. It's a violation of collection laws to threaten to send a patient to collections unless you're using a collection agency as a normal practice. Train your collectors to take good notes if they're making collection calls so that if they have subsequent conversations with the patient, they can refer back to their notes. And if that staff member leaves, it'll be a good starting point for someone else taking it over. Use only an employee or a licensed third party or agency or attorney to collect for you, never an unlicensed third party. Only use third parties who are committed to full compliance to all federal, state, and local regulations regarding both first and third party collections. And only use a third party who provides you with a hold harmless agreement as a matter of course. Don't share information about a balance due with parties other than the debtor or their spouse. For example, if you call the debtor's office and someone else answers, do not leave a message about a past due balance. Only a message to have the person return your call. Before you discuss any patient accounts receivable information with anyone outside your practice, make sure that you have a HIPAA business associate agreement signed and on file with the individual or agency. Let's talk about a few collection myths. All of these are items to consider when establishing your practice's individual collection policy, but they're not legal requirements. 1. There is no law that says you have to warn a patient that you're going to send them to collections before you actually go ahead and do send them to collections. 2, there's no law that says you have to wait a certain number of days before sending a patient to collections. 3, there's no law that says if a patient is paying $1 a month that you can't send them to collections, or $5 a month. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up on the video and leave your thoughts for me or questions in the comments section at the bottom. I will answer your questions personally. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know also in the comments if you'd like to receive notification of any webinars and live training broadcasts that may be coming up soon. Again, I'm Mr. Cash Flow from Cash Flow Strategies. After all, it's your money. Keep more of it.